You were the gift, not the gap he tried to fill. That's what you have to remember every time you wonder if you were enough for him. You weren't there to complete his brokenness, to be his distraction from pain, or to serve as a temporary fix while he figured himself out. You showed up whole. You showed up with love, intention, presence. That's not a filler. That's a gift. The tragedy is he didn't recognize it. He saw your kindness as convenience, your emotional availability as something ordinary. But your presence was never meant to soothe his chaos. It was meant to be honored. When people are emotionally immature or unavailable, they look for comfort without commitment. They want the warmth of connection without the responsibility that comes with it. And so they gravitate toward people who give freely, who love deeply, who show up consistently because it feels good, but they rarely know how to hold that kind of energy. They take and take, but when it comes time to reciprocate, they fall short. That wasn't your failure, it was their limitation. You didn't get left behind because you lacked something. You got left behind because you had too much of what they weren't ready to receive. And that's not something to change. That's something to protect. One day, when they realize what they lost, when they feel the quiet you left behind, they may miss you. They may finally understand. But by then, you'll be far beyond needing their recognition to feel whole. You weren't meant to be someone's lesson in hindsight. You were meant to be loved in the moment, present, seen, and respected. That's the kind of love you give. And that's the kind of love you deserve in return. Never let someone's inability to value you distort the truth of who you are. You are not the gap, you are the gift. And the right person won't need to lose you to understand that his silence doesn't define your value. It's natural to feel hurt, confused, and even responsible when someone you cared about pulls away without a word. You start questioning everything. Was it something I said, something I did, something I lacked? But the truth is, their inability to communicate says more about them than it ever will about you. Silence isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their emotional immaturity, their avoidance, and their lack of respect, not just for you, but for the connection you shared. When someone chooses silence instead of honesty, it's often because they don't have the courage to face discomfort. They'd rather disappear than deal with the vulnerability of speaking their truth. And that's not something you can fix. It's not your job to interpret their absence or try to read between the lines of what they never had the decency to say. Your mind may try to fill in the blanks with self-blame, but don't fall into that trap. You were showing up, you were available, you were willing. That's your power, not your flaw. Respectful people communicate. They may not always have the perfect words, but they try. They show you where they stand, even when it's hard. When someone goes quiet, what they're really saying is, I don't value this connection enough to honor it with clarity. And if that's their truth, then your response should be just as clear. You deserve better. Walking away from someone who leaves you in silence is an act of self-respect. It means you refuse to be haunted by unanswered questions. It means you value your peace more than their inconsistency. And over time, that silence becomes less of a wound and more of a gift because it showed you exactly who they were and, more importantly, who you are. You are not defined by who stops choosing you. You're defined by how you choose yourself when they don't. So let them go. Let their silence echo in their own life, not yours. You don't need noise to feel worthy. You just need truth. And that begins by no longer confusing someone's absence with a statement about your value. Missing you is part of his lesson, not your purpose. It's tempting to think that if someone regrets losing you, it somehow validates the pain you went through, that their realization means something has changed, or that maybe you mattered more than you thought. But your role in someone's life isn't to be the moment they finally understand what love looks like, especially if they couldn't see it while you were giving it. You're not here to be someone's awakening. You're here to be loved, respected, and valued in the moment, not in the rearview mirror. When someone finally starts missing you, it's not always about who you were to them. It's about what they lost. They miss your patience, your energy, your support. They miss how easy you made things feel. But what they miss is the comfort, not necessarily the connection. And you can't confuse that longing with growth. Feeling your absence doesn't mean they've evolved into the person you needed them to be. Sometimes it just means they've noticed the space where your love used to live, and now it's quiet. Your worth was never meant to be discovered after you've left. Real love recognizes value while it's still there. The right person will appreciate you in the moment, not in the aftermath. So when someone finally sees your worth only because you're no longer available, let that be their lesson to carry, not your cue to return. You gave your best, you showed up with sincerity, and that's enough. Their failure to meet you there is not your burden to bear. Let them miss you. Let them wrestle with the choices they made and the connection they let slip away. But don't let their regret keep you stuck. You are not a chapter in someone else's growth story. You are a whole, complete story on your own. Their lesson is theirs to learn. Your healing, your joy, your future, that's where your energy belongs now. You weren't meant to be the one they miss. You were meant to be the one someone keeps because they recognized your worth before it became a memory. Being overlooked doesn't mean you're not extraordinary. It simply means the person looking wasn't capable of truly seeing. Sometimes people aren't equipped to recognize depth, honesty, or emotional richness. Not because those things aren't valuable, but because they're unfamiliar, intimidating, or inconvenient to those who aren't ready. And when you offer something genuine, something grounded in love and self-awareness, not everyone will know what to do with it. That doesn't make your offering less powerful. It makes it rare. It's easy to internalize being overlooked as a sign that you lack something. You begin to question your worth, comparing yourself to others, wondering what they had that you didn't. But the truth is, someone else's inability to appreciate you isn't about your deficiency. It's about their limitations. A person who is distracted, emotionally unavailable, or chasing surface-level thrills will always bypass the quiet strength of someone who shows up with intention. You weren't ignored because you weren't enough. You were ignored because they couldn't comprehend your value. The pain of being overlooked cuts deep, especially when you showed up wholeheartedly. But let that pain refine you, not reduce you. Let it remind you that you are not here to be seen by everyone. You are here to be seen by the right one. And the right one doesn't hesitate. They don't need to be convinced. They recognize your value not through performance or perfection, but simply because of the way you carry yourself. Don't shrink to fit into someone's limited vision. Don't dim your light to make yourself easier to digest. The person who truly sees you will be drawn to that light, not intimidated by it. And when they find you, they won't overlook you. They'll honor you. Until then, stand tall in your truth. Be proud of what you bring to the table. You are not the background charm. Actor in someone else's love story. You are the main character in your own. Being overlooked doesn't define your worth. It simply clears the path for someone who's been searching for exactly what you are. You attract respect by walking away from disrespect. Not by arguing your worth, not by staying and hoping they'll change, and not by giving endless chances to someone who keeps crossing lines. Respect begins the moment you decide that your peace is non-negotiable, that your heart is not a playground for someone's confusion or emotional immaturity. The truth is, people learn how to treat you based on what you allow. When you keep forgiving without change, staying without boundaries, loving without receiving, it teaches them that you'll tolerate being treated as less than you deserve. It's not weakness to care deeply, but it becomes self-abandonment when you care more about being chosen than being respected. Love without respect is not love. It's control, manipulation, or convenience. And you weren't born to be anyone's emotional cushion. You weren't made to keep proving your worth to someone who only shows up when it's easy. Walking away is not giving up. It's rising up. It's the moment you stop settling for crumbs and start demanding the full meal, not with force, but with quiet, firm truth. I love myself too much to stay where I am not honored. Walking away hurts. It requires strength. But staying somewhere you're consistently disrespected hurts far more. And over time, it drains the parts of you that make love worth giving. When you leave, you show the world and yourself that you won't negotiate with your own value. That's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And in doing so, you clear space for something better, for someone who doesn't need to be taught how to treat you, for a connection that doesn't exhaust your spirit just to survive. You don't earn love by enduring pain. You attract real, lasting love by being whole enough to walk away from anything that chips away at your dignity. Let them wonder why you left. Let them feel the absence of your loyalty, your kindness, your care. But don't stay where love must be begged for, and don't fight to be seen by someone who keeps looking past you. Respect yourself enough to choose distance over disrespect. That's when everything begins to change. That's when real love finds you. The right one won't need to lose you to recognize your worth. They won't wait until you're gone to realize what they had. They'll see it while you're standing right in front of them, and they'll choose you with clarity, not confusion. You won't have to convince them, chase them, or prove yourself over and over again. They'll know, and they'll show you in the way they speak, the way they stay, the way they consistently show up without needing to be reminded that you matter. Too many people only realize someone's value once the door has closed, once the calls stop, once the silence sets in, and then they come back, not because they've changed, but because they feel the discomfort of your absence. But missing someone is not the same as knowing how to love them. Regret is not the same as readiness. Just because they feel the weight of your loss doesn't mean they're capable of carrying the responsibility of your love. You are not here to be someone's wake-up call. You are not a lesson meant to teach them how to be better for the next person. You are the gift. And the person who's truly meant for you will never need to lose you to finally get it. They will respect the access you give them. They will protect your presence like it's something sacred. They won't take your patience, your vulnerability, your loyalty for granted, because to them, you're not just someone worth having. You're someone they feel grateful to hold on to. Don't wait to be understood only after you've walked away. Don't stay in spaces where your worth is only clear in hindsight. The love that's meant for you will see you clearly and completely in the now, not in the what if, not in the someday. You won't be their afterthought. You'll be their priority. Let others learn their lessons, but don't make your heart the cost of someone else's growth. You deserve someone who doesn't need a loss to appreciate your presence. Someone who knows your worth in the moment and honors it every single day. The right one won't come with confusion. They'll come with certainty, and they won't have to lose you to realize they never want to